What's going on, guys? It is Carly here bringing you day 12 of my 31 days of horror, and today I'm going to be talking about a movie that's more of like a sci-fi slash action thriller film, and it's also another sequel to a film that I have not seen the first one to. That's kind of there's a few movies definitely in this series where I do that, and I do apologize for that, but I happened to get this one probably 2 years ago, and I've had it in the collection for a while now. I just never really felt like watching it, but that is Escape from LA from, I believe, the year 1996, and this is, of course, a John Carpenter film, and it is the sequel to Escape from New York from sometime in the 80s. I forget which year that one came out, but I have not actually seen that one. I've heard really good things. I know a lot of people say it's one of their favorite Carpenter films, or at least up there on the Carpenter scale, and that, of course, is yet again another more of an action thriller than it is a horror film, but you have Escape from LA here, and the story is you have Kurt Russell. He plays this guy, Snake. I believe he was once like a good guy, and then he kind of, became crooked and this crook type of guy. I apologize, I'm not too educated on the films in general. Like I said, I haven't seen the first one, but these corrupt government officials pretty much call in this Snake character to retrieve this doomsday device before it's too late, and they are, of course, in LA this time, hence the title. And at first Snake doesn't really want to comply with them, and he's kind of like F you, but they implant some sort of thing inside of him that will basically kill him after 10 hours, and if he does not do what they say, he will die. If not, they will give him the antidote, and I believe they say that they'll also rid him of all the criminal charges that he has going against him, so his name will be cleared. But obviously the other aspect is he will die if he doesn't do any of this. So and I think this movie is set in 2013 as well, which is, it's always weird to see a movie that was made years ago and they set it in the future, and then the future is already past type of deal. But anyway, that's kind of the idea here. So the Snake character goes on this, big hunt for this doomsday device, and there's a bunch of action and all. He runs into all these different types of characters, friends, foes, and all that. So, like I said, it's really hard to talk about this one because I have not seen the first one, and I pretty much see the general consensus is this is a lot like the first movie. It's kind of got the same plot and concept, but it's kind of like a lesser version. But it seems like people find this one to kind of be just cheesy fun and don't take it too seriously. And that's kind of what I got out of it as well. I've said it millions of times, I'm not a huge action fan, so it's not a movie that I would really enjoy watching again probably, but at the same time, I think Kurt Russell is perfect for the role. I've always been a pretty big fan of him. I haven't seen too many things he's been in, but I feel like he's a good he's very dynamic in his acting. He could play in comedies like Overboard, or serious characters like in this movie and The Thing, and I think he kind of nails the roles all the same. I like his his voice in this one, how it's kind of like a whispery type of voice the entire time. I think he just plays the character really well, and he looks like a total badass. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of action, but the action scenes that you do get, I do think are done pretty well. Just some of the, I don't really know how to explain it, but action movies have that really unrealistic thing where something can happen and it triggers something else. It's kind of like a mousetrap type of deal where something happens, it makes something else happen conveniently, and then everything is saved and okay like that. You get a few scenes in here like that if you have any idea what I'm trying to say there, and I think they are pretty well done. As far as special effects with action scenes though, I do think they are a bit outdated, and some of them come off as really fake and cheesy, but again, that's kind of part of the movie's charm. 1996, this is when I feel like special effects were a little bit iffy, where some of them were realistic and then some of them were, trying to get a little more high tech, so no fault of the movie, it just makes it look a little more dated. Storyline, I think, is your basic action storyline. It's not too difficult to follow, which I appreciate because, like I said, not a big fan of those movies, so sometimes my biggest downfall is I'll be watching one, it's really hard for me to get into it, to pay attention, and if you stop paying attention, you're pretty much screwed halfway through and don't know what's going on. I don't really get that problem with this movie, but At the same time, would I want to watch this again? Probably not. A little curious on Escape to New York because I have heard people kind of hype it up and say that they enjoy it, but I'm not too sure if I would love that one just because it's not my preferred genre. Of course, I love John Carpenter's horror movies, but his thriller action movies, I think they're well made, but just not really my cup of tea, so I probably will get around to that one eventually, but for now, Escape to LA, I give this movie a solid 7 out of 10. I think it's a decent, cheesy sort of action thriller from the 90s. And if you have not seen it yet and you're into these types of films, I would definitely recommend it. If you're a fan of John Carpenter or even just Kurt Russell, I do definitely recommend this one. So yeah, 7 out of 10, Escape to LA. Thank you guys once again for joining me here for day 12, and I will see you tomorrow for day 13.